You're still listening to Lagos Talks 91.3, and as we promised you, this is a dial for the conversations surrounding the 2023 general elections. We've also promised to bring you the leading contenders and the leading voices as far as the elections are concerned. And of course, we have another big fish in the studio today. A 42-year-old technocrat, Chukwuka Monye, recently became one of the first persons to officially declare an intention to be Nigeria's next president. Now, while making his declaration, he decried the level of failure of Nigeria as a nation, as saying that the time to take over governance from the older generation is now. Monye, whose slogan is "Our future is now," wondered how the founding fathers would be content with Nigeria's current state. What is he all about? What is his campaign founded on, and what does he think? What is he all about, and what does he think about the current state of affairs in Nigeria? I'm glad to say we have the man himself, Mr. Chukwuka Monye, with us in the studio right here on Lagos Talks 91.3.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. When did it dawn on you that you would like to run for the office of president? At what point?
Interestingly, I've always kind of known that I'll do something. Maybe not the scale or the specific role, but I've always been interested in doing something in Nigeria. So even for as long as I can remember, I've been doing quite a number of give back type things. So I'm passionate about Nigeria. There are people that tell me that my blood is green. Even when I've had opportunities to stay in other countries, I still come back home. I believe in it. I believe that at some point things will get better. But I think that it's important that we contribute to that process. Now, I went into last year not even considering this. It was halfway the year that a couple of, after having conversations with so many people, I saw a pattern of us just complaining. Everybody was lamenting. Everyone was analyzing. And I'm saying, guys, I'm not seeing how we will get out of this if we just keep talking. And so guys were like, but who will raise their hand? Who will raise their hand? So initially it started off as a joke because I said, okay, see me here. I'm raising my hand, And people were like, hey, if you raise your hand, we'll go. And I considered it seriously.
But was it in a social forum or a political forum or a family forum or even church?
No, not social. It wasn't political. Just guys, our boys were just chilling, that type of setting.
Okay.
And then I started to reflect on it seriously because I said, you know what are we all really doing? How can we keep, hailing ourselves about potential? We have been potential for so long. When is the country going to reflect who we truly are? We do well when we go abroad. We do well when, we keep hearing. In fact, I tell people, don't call to tell me about another Nigerian that has broken a record abroad. We know who we are. We do well. We excel. But when we look at Nigeria, it's not reflective of who we are. And so by the time I pondered on a lot of these things, I said, you know what, guys? We also need to just do something for our generation. What are we going to say if we look back in history or our children look back? They say, we just folded our arms and we're just waiting for some people to run the country down, or, what is it? I said, guys, let's go. And it's been impressive. Since the announcement, we've had over 1,000 plus, volunteers signing up. People are ready. People are saying, oh boy, let's do something. At least, let's even stop saying, oh, they won't allow. Let's stand for something. Let's know that in our time, we stood for something. And that's really what we're pushing.
So that's interesting. So what you're saying is that you hadn't thought about this before now. Yeah. But you have a record of giving back to society.
Correct.
And amongst your circle, you're known as someone who's passionate about Nigeria.
Correct.
And that's one of the reasons why you are still in the country.
Correct.
Tell us about yourself. You've been described as a technocrat. You've been described as a social innovator. Who is Chukwuka Monye?
Okay. Chukwuka Monye is someone who's passionate about people, improving lives of people. I always, anywhere I go, I want to see things better. Okay, whether it's businesses that I advise, whether it's young people that I mentor, because I have a philosophy that I guess dates back to even when I was in secondary school. You know, when they say, "Oh, always leave a place better than you met it." I think that if it's something that we literally implemented, that Nigeria will be a better place, right? So it's a philosophy that I've carried with me even till this very moment. So I am someone who just likes to make lives better through everything I do. But from a professional standpoint, I'm a social innovator. I'm an innovation strategist. All this just means that I've gone to school. It's a profession to acquire skills that helps me come up with ways to improve things.
What does a social innovator do?
A social innovator is someone who finds creative ways to impact, lives. So I can give you very tangible examples. So I go into a community. There's a project right now that we're looking at in my village, and there's a property. You look at the property and you're thinking, what do you want to do with this property? Normally, some people will just make it a place that they will just rent out. But I've looked at and studied my environment, and I'm like, the unemployment rate is so high here. Guys are not engaged. The youth are not engaged. What can I do to get them engaged and make them earn money, make them earn a living? So looked at the property, did some feasibility around the area, and we said, they don't even have water. They bring in water from another city. Okay, let's do a water factory. Let's put a bakery there. And guess who your salespeople will be, your agents will be? The youth. You give it to them, they go and sell, they come back, and they are now business people.
Okay.
That's impact. But you're doing the impact in a way that is sustainable. Not that you're just giving money.
Okay.
Because if you give money, they will still come back another day. Right? So it's empowerment in an innovative way. That's another way to sort of describe it. Right? But that's just one dimension. I also have a master's degree and the innovation strategy degree, both of them from University of Oxford. But I started from here.
Okay.
Lagos boy.
I think that's something. You aspirants who want to always lay a connection with the fact that you're not just foreign trained, but you started from
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Okay.
Started here. In fact, grew up in Antony Village.
Seriously?
Yeah, so
wow,
then went to Maryland Convent Private School.
Still the same area.
Still the same area. And then from there, to Ijaniki, Federal Government College, Lagos. Went to Ogun State University briefly before I stepped out.
To the abroad.
To the abroad.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was very anxious. I came back sharply.
Why did you come back?
I came back because when you say, so let's leave the passion and you like people, all that. When you also go abroad, just like many people that are abroad today, a lot of them are not happy that they're there. A lot of them feel that it is out of necessity. They just want to earn a living. They just want to have a decent life. That's why a lot of people are there. But my brother, as I am like this, if I spend 3 days, 4 days abroad and I've not eaten Niger food, my body will be doing me like this. Do you understand? And there are many people like that. Your home is your home.
With the way things are in the country, there was a period, maybe 2013, 2014, 2012, a lot of Nigerians were coming back home. A lot of foreign educated Nigerians, even those who are like second generation Nigerians were coming back to try and see what they could do, especially at a time when, the GDP became the highest on the continent, beating South Africa.
Right.
At the time Jonathan was president, and we had a good experience with the oil, inflows coming, dollars, petrodollars, and all that. Things didn't work out. The recession came in, and a lot of people packed up and left. And also with the dwindling fortunes of the economy, a lot of Nigerian youth, families, professionals, technocrats like yourself, both locally trained and foreign trained, are leaving the country in droves. And you look at comments online. People feel there's no hope. I mean, people are asking me what I'm still doing in the country. One friend of mine said, "What am I still doing in that country?" You understand? She's in Canada now. So, I mean, what can you say? Is this a time for Nigerians to stay in the country? Or can you understand why people want to go?
I understand. There was a time when I used to get upset, because my view is, oh boy, if all of you go, I'm the only one here. How can I do it? this change program, we need more people. But some people, when they present to you some of their realities, their challenges, and the fact that this environment is not helping, you have to understand, right? Now, what I tell a lot of people is not everybody can leave the country. That's number one. And number two, somebody and some people must fix it. Otherwise, we are going to be in a mess. I think that's part of what necessitated my pursuit, right? Because by the middle of last year, I had to evaluate and said to myself, oh boy, if nothing is done about this, we'll all still be analyzing pontificating, So I think that's an opportunity in itself for all of us that are still in Nigeria to say, let's do this. Even if you want to call it last chance. But let's throw everything we have at it.
Even if it's your last card.
Even if it's your last card, let's throw everything. And there are quite a number of people that have told me that, oh boy, you know what, let's try. If you know work after 2023, they will still go. But I said, let's go, let's give it all out, And I said, let's start from even getting your PVCs. Because all of us complaining, more than half of us complaining, don't have PVC. I said, so how will we have that impact? Right?
Interesting. So what are the specific things about, because you talk about how bad things are and how you've decided to stay back and be a part of the solution. And what are those things that about the country and the state of the nation today that annoy you, or that, let's say, motivate you to want to do something?
But let me say, the number one thing is poverty. The level of poverty is astronomical. 10 years ago, and there are different ways you'll find that you get some indicators. The rate at which people beg now, you can tell is on another level. Anywhere you go, even down to security men. You can tell they are hungry. They are supposed to secure a place. But the moment you show up and it looks like, you'll be able to give 200 naira. How are you, sir? The salute is, is loud. Happy weekend, And they haven't checked you. They haven't looked at you, So for me, there are quite a number of things, but a lot of it is around poverty. And the implication of that is reflective on other things. So we are complaining about insecurity. But the reason why insecurity would happen is because people don't have any other thing to do. There are no jobs. Unemployment rate is on another level, I was with a friend from somewhere else who said to me that he heard our unemployment rate is high. And the next question he asked me was, okay, that it happens in every country, but what is the minimum allowance given to those people that don't have jobs per month? He asked me that, and I smiled. And I said, you're making an assumption, bro. The assumption that there is actually something given to everybody that doesn't have a job. And he said, no way. How is that possible? I said, yeah, you're coming from a place where that exists. It doesn't exist in mine. That's poverty. That's poverty. In China, they're creating millionaires on a daily basis. we are adding to the poverty pool by 4 people per minute. That's how do you explain that?
Okay, and you feel you're the man to fix this?
That's what I do.
Really?
That's what I do.
That's what you do. Okay. What when you say that's what you do, this is
It's what I do from the standpoint of transformation, the skills I've learned, what I've done over the last 20 years.
You founded and were the
Consulting.
managing partner of CUC Consulting.
Yes.
You've recently stepped down.
Yes.
Why did you step down?
I stepped down to pursue this.
Okay. Well, you couldn't do both side by side because some other candidates are still in business and
I'm focused.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, okay.
You want to give it all you've got and know that you did, right? It's not a half-hearted journey for me. I'm going all the way.
Okay. So tell us how your experience in transformation, organizational transformation and change, management and all that, your experience in your professional career has empowered you, because I saw the confidence you exuded when you said it's what I do. So you obviously are very, very confident of your abilities. How has your training, your education, and your experience in your profession empowered you in a way that makes you confident that you can fix Nigeria?
Okay, so I think when you look at the things that happen when there's a transformation project, you're stepping into a situation that is not really pleasant. Yeah, you're evaluating it, you're assessing it, and saying, okay, this is not great. But you're also working with the promoters of that particular asset to say, what do you want it to be? So you paint a picture of the end goal or expected outcome. Now, clearly, there's a huge gap between where you are now and where you are going. The work, that transformation agenda, is what are you going to do to get to that expected outcome, right? Those are the skills I've developed over time. And it doesn't change. It's just that the scenarios have changed. The skill has changed, but the principles remain the same. So along the way, you're going to employ resources. Yeah? Different kinds of resources, including human beings. How do you engage those human beings? The talents that you need. Okay? That's one skill that is critical. And it's one skill that is lacking. Today, you typically hear that government is on one side and the people are on another side. There's a huge disconnect. Sometimes they are not even feeling what the people are feeling. Whereas you're actually supposed to be engaging them in that transformation agenda. They are the ones that should be doing the work. But, the average Nigerian is not connected to such concept, right? That's what I mean by transformation capacity. If that's one of the things you do, you would also have a skill as a change manager. Because change, sometimes you will see a lot of resistance. There are many people in the system that will tell you, oh, no. How can you want to put transparency here? It means you are going to block this one, block that one. But there's a way to do it. Sometimes it's not drastic. Sometimes it's a process. Sometimes you will say it's gradual. Sometimes you prepare their mind, say, oh boy, this place, we are going to shut that tap. But I'm giving you a few weeks or a few days. There are different ways. Change management is a skill. It's a technical skill. And that's many politicians do not have.
Okay, interesting. If you're still listening, you're still on to Lagos Talks 91.3, and we do have one of the early people who have been amongst the first to announce that they will be joining the presidential race when it kicks off. Of course, the campaigns have not started. INEC is yet to release the electoral timetable, and we know what the Electoral Act says about campaigning. So he is not here to campaign. He's simply here to tell us what he thinks about the state of the nation and tell us a bit about himself as well. Chukwuka Monye is a 42-year-old technocrat, and of course he had a very, very colorful ceremony where he officially informed Nigerians that when the campaigns begin, he will be amongst those vying to be the next president of Nigeria. And it's been quite interesting so far. Right here on Lagos Talks 91.3. My name is Koffi Bartels. Mr. Monye, now, you've talked about the transformation and managing change in organizations, and you have that skill, and you feel that a country like Nigeria, for us to fix the things that we have, the issues we have, we need to change the way we do things. One of the things that people have said, needs to change is the political system. So let's talk about the Nigerian political system. Now, some would describe as an outsider.
Correct.
Have you taken time to assess the political system in Nigeria, and what are your thoughts on the way it is set up and it is structured?
Okay, so the political system, the way it is set up, it's interesting. I have to say that. I think that it is something that has worked and has served Nigeria reasonably okay till date. However, I think that is something that still needs to evolve given the way the people have evolved. Okay. When you hear young people say that they are uninterested in participating in the electoral process, it is because there's something that is causing them to be less interested, right? Now, if it was exciting for them for different reasons, they would be interested. But it's not interesting to them.
So why do you think they're not excited about that?
There are quite a number of reasons. The fact that they don't trust the process. Yeah. The other is that they haven't seen, candidates that excite them.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is that quite a number of them feel that, hey, whatever you do is still going to be the same people. I hear that, all the time. But to all of these things, one of the things I've told, a lot of my mentees and, people I've coached is, as a human being, it's important that you stand for something regardless. Okay, that's number one. Number two is that since electronic transmission started of results, electronic transmission of results, it has reduced significantly the ability for these guys to rig. So people need to understand that right now, whatever happens at the polling unit is what will be transmitted. So if you let somebody else write a wrong result at your polling unit in your front, that's where the problem is. But now, before you had the problem of transmission, people will carry the ballot. Now we're saying that's out of the way. So if you go as youth, you go as groups. Go there, vote, protect your votes, stay till the end. See, guess what? Capture it, upload it, tag CNN, tag BBC. Things have changed. So I'm saying that, youth need to take advantage of the infrastructure, the access they have, the digital media that they have to play the game in their own way.
Okay, interesting. To play the game in their own way. You sound like you are that outsider who understands the game. Would you? I mean,
let me not say that I understand the
Nigerian
game. I will say that I understand the people. Okay, and I know that the people are tired, and I know that the people are ready to do something about it.
As a transformational, manager, administrator, consultant, change manager, and try to get organizations to be put right and to work right, you're faced with pushbacks. People do not want to change.
Resistance, yes.
Resistance. And you have seen in your professional career the firsthand the stiffness or stubbornness of the people in this country.
Mm-hmm.
These people you are interacting with are in public service, I believe, in some instances, and the private sector in some instances. They are not politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Politicians don't need to go to a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
These are regular Nigerians. Some people have said that the people get the government they deserve, and those we see in authority are simply a reflection of society.
Correct.
In trying to transform the country, are you sure you know the people you're trying to help? will not be your greatest challenge? The voter.
You cannot take that out of the equation. You know, there are people that have come to me even now. Yes, on the one hand, there are a lot of people saying, "Oh wow, this is a breath of fresh air. This is great. You are giving hope." But there are people that I know, people that are my friends, that are saying, "Oh boy, this guy is positioning for ministerial something, or he just wants to become popular." And I'm thinking to myself, it's okay. You're entitled to that view. But guess what? I cannot be upset with him. It's his view. The only thing I can do is to continue to engage, because I know that with time, he will come on board when he understands what we are trying to do. That's change management. Resistance is normal, and it's okay for people to push back and challenge it, right? The question is, okay, what am I doing to convince them over time? Even when you launch a new product, guess what? Not everybody adopts, product from day one. You have the early adopters. You have those that come in later. My own hope and the work that I have to do is to ensure that in the next 300 days, that at some point, I'll get you to become a believer, right? That before election day that you become. So it's a process, and I'm fine with it.
Are Nigerians generally ready for a different direction, for change, the change you're talking about? Bearing in mind, like you said, people we cannot face resistance. Bearing in mind the fact that politics in Nigeria is in elections, people think of who they should vote for, who they should support, along ethnic lines, along religious lines, strictly along political party lines. They don't want to know whether the person is a goat or a rat. As long as the person is carrying an umbrella or a broom or a chicken, they will vote for that person. We don't see them asking intelligent questions. And it's led some electoral observers to say, we have a high voter illiteracy, we need to work on that. Are the people ready for anyone who is going to come with a different message to say, vote for someone who has ideas, not money, and vote for someone who would change the system? Are people ready for that?
So I think that question, I think it might be somewhat impractical to ask the question in that manner, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Are people ever ready? In any normal society, what should happen is that you engage the people, you educate the people. There are a lot of young guys that I've gone to. I hang out with them. I meet them. In the first instance, they will just fold their arms. And they have red eyes. They're like, this guy don't come again. Who be this? All these politicians, And they, posture like they're already resisting. They don't even want to listen to what you have to say. But by the time you engage them, 5 minutes into it, I like this guy. Nice. There was one I just, some guys I met. And the guys, when we're done, the guys said, to be honest with you, sir, we need reorientation. But all of them there said they were going to get their PVCs. That they are not aware, they are not informed. That this was refreshing because they say, okay, this is a leader who is taking time out to mentor them. Like, they haven't seen that before. And that's my point. My point is, what they are used to is different from what I'm bringing to the table. So I cannot say, I cannot conclude if they are ready or not because I have not yet engaged them or they have not interacted with who I am, my essence. Perhaps with more interaction, more communication from people like you, they'll see.
Some observers in Nigeria generally have been wondering why people like you, people who have ambitions to be players and to occupy political office, come out and make themselves known to Nigerians officially, like you did in that beautiful ceremony you had. I saw you with your wife, and that was a nice moment. That was an Obama moment.
Thank you.
But they're asking, why don't these guys, likes of yourself, likes of Khadija, why don't they have political platforms? Why don't they have political parties? Especially with the fact that independent candidacy is not a thing in Nigeria. some would say this amounts to putting the cart before the horse. And I asked the same question to Khadija yesterday. Shouldn't it be that you belong to a party, you believe in, whose philosophy you share, whose ideals and values you share, and then you can, from within the party, vie for any office you want to vie for?
Okay. So I like this question because it also helps me, to respond through who I am. And what I mean by that is I'm an innovation strategist. Therefore, I want to do things in an effective manner. Now, I'll take a step back and say a few things about this thing about platform. We have played a politics of platform and not politics of personality for years because of what surrounds the platform. This party is big, they have money, they are going to pay people at the polling unit, etc. The moment we shift from parties to personalities, you will start to transition into politics of ideology. Because then you're saying, this person believes what I believe in. Now, does it mean that I'm not interested in party? No. I'm going to announce the party that I'm interested in very, very soon. But if I do not carefully consider all the factors, I will find myself in the wrong party. I know that a lot of the people that are interested in supporting me are young and they want a platform for expression. So as I'm engaging and going through all these different consultations with different parties, I need to ensure that this factor is accommodated.
Have you been a member of any political party in Nigeria before?
Yes, I have.
What party was it?
One of the dominant parties.
Okay, namely?
One of the dominant parties.
I mean, if you've been, you can tell Nigerians which party it was.
One of the dominant parties.
Was it
Koffi?
APC or PDP?
One of the dominant parties.
Okay, interesting. And so you supported, their candidates. You were an active member of the party.
Yes.
Okay, and so what happened? Why did you resign?
I haven't resigned.
Tear your membership card?
It's still a consideration. Like I said, in the next few weeks, I'll be making a decision and I'll be looking at dominant parties and also emerging parties.
But some Nigerians who probably have hope that you'll come in, maybe when the campaigns begin, with fresh air, won't they be disappointed if they see that you're still going back to the same?
They may not be disappointed if they see a pathway. If they see that, they can still find expression within that platform.
Mr. Moye, are you religious?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'll quote scripture.
Okay.
That says you can't put new wine in an old wineskin.
So let us be realistic about politics.
You seem to be going into an old wineskin, either APC or PDP. If you so decide,
you know why I tell people
you want to take a new one.
Let's not go into scripture because I have scripture too that will support my own strategy.
Bring it on, right? Bring it on.
Because at the end of the day, even Jesus Christ was in the world, but he was not of the world. Yeah. So let's not go there.
Okay. But Nigerians, most of them would say, not most, but some, those who want to see something fresh, have been looking for sort of a third force, something new, a fresh alternative.
It is a consideration.
Okay, so you've not ruled out becoming or vying for the office with PDP or APC.
All the cards are on the table, and in the next few weeks, I'll be making a decision.
Would it be possible to be with these guys and not be, come out the same? Because you're going through a conveyor belt, the production process.
You're going through a conveyor belt.
To please a lot of interests.
But like I said, if you have the opportunity, right, to express, and expression comes in many ways, and I'll paint a scenario. You pick one of the dominant parties and they have 500,000 registered members, for instance. And then 2 million youth decide to support me, even within that party. Guess who's going to dictate the policies in that party? It's the person with the numbers, right? So the question is, are the youth really ready for a game changer? It's possible, right?
Okay. All right. You're still listening to our interview with Chukwuka Monye, who is a Nigerian who says he's passionate about the country, that his blood is green, and he wants to do something about the state of affairs in the nation. And of course, when the time comes, he will be vying for a ticket from one of the political parties in Nigeria to be the next president of Nigeria. Looking at the state of affairs in Nigeria today, looking at him as a person, trying to know him better, and also taking his thoughts on issues of national importance. My name is Koffi Bartels, and you're listening to 91.3 Lagos Talks. Chukwuka Monye, you have you've accepted you agree with the description that outsider. I once spoke to I've spoken to several politicians, including career politicians, those who have not done anything apart from politics, from local government level to where they are today, and to people who are businessmen, entrepreneurs, technocrats like you, who went into the political fray. And for those who came from the outside, majority of those who I speak to, how they sounded before they went in, and how they sounded after the election. Before they went in, they had idealistic and utopian had ideas, and they were totally against the system, and they were very determined to change it. When they ran the election, for those who didn't win or those who won, whatever the result was, then when I listen to them, they sound different. They will say, "Oh boy, this thing, you just have to play this game the way it's played. You have to learn how to play the way they play, so you can beat them at it." Are you aware, and are you cognizant of the intricacies and the strategies of success in Nigerian politics?
Koffi, I'm aware, and I have to let you understand something, and this is one of the things that's very critical for the youth to comprehend. It is important that we redefine the rules of the game. You don't have to play their own rules. You do not have to. People are not happy because I've not announced party, because that's their rule. But it's not an electoral, it's not a policy, but no one who defined it, who says it should be like that. But it's unnerving to people because someone else said this is the way it should be. Who said? Guess what? If I come out now and I tell you I'm a member of so, other politicians and other parties will not talk to me. But as a new entrant, I need a platform to be able to engage with everybody. Therefore, hold out first. Consult with everybody. And then get informed, and be informed to make the right decision.
I read a comment on social media because we put out a pre-sale for this interview. And some comments are suggesting that you should have started from
Councillor.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or
don't worry, I get that.
You get that.
Even Gateman. I've heard all sorts.
Yeah.
But it's okay. That is their view. That's democracy.
Okay.
People said the same thing about Trump. People said the same thing about Obama. That why is it he's just a one-term senator?
But Trump had been working trying for years. First as a Democrat, even supporting them. You know this better than I do. With his donations and all that.
Hey, my brother, Obama was a one-year senator, one term. Okay, so he didn't even have experience. His body was itching him to even move. He didn't feel that his skill sets were adequate for being a senator, but he felt he was more designed to be a president. And he went for it and he got it. So I'm saying that ultimately, the question I always throw back to advocates of, go and become councillor is, show me anyone who has political experience that has become fantastic president in Nigeria. We won't be where we are now because all of them are experienced. So it's time to change.
So you're saying the career politicians are...
My brother, we don't need politicians now. We need a leader, a transformational leader. You have been politicking, using people's lives to politic. We need to park that and look for a leader that's going to do something about Nigerian situation.
Yeah, what we need is there. Mm-hmm. But what is on the ground, the reality of the situation is what some people are looking at.
And I understand
the
it.
fact that fine, we want you to be there. All people of goodwill, we want support. We'll support some outsiders and all that, but to be able to beat the system, this is how it works. This is how it is done.
Koffi, let me ask you a question.
You can't.
Can I ask you a question? You have 200 million Nigerians. Is it possible that 30 million Nigerians believe that they want something better?
Yeah, of course.
Is it possible that 30 million Nigerians will do what it takes to get something better?
Of course.
If 30 million Nigerians do it, guess what? You win election. Buhari won with 15 million. This thinking is what is missing. They just don't think that they can. What your view is what is lacking. They don't believe. They will tell you that they will make the decision.
Only 20% of the population, on the average, votes in an election cycle.
But those that believe and make something and do something about it will make a massive impact. But you have to first believe it's possible.
The Nigerian political terrain is said not to be for the faint-hearted.
Right.
I'm sure, like you said, you're aware of the difficulties.
Yes.
I've spoken to some politicians and both insiders and outsiders, and I guided them to come up with what I call the 101 of Nigerian politics for the outsider. Number one, get party delegates on your side.
Correct.
No matter the cost. For every political party, from what my various conversations over time, you have delegates. And the delegates are the ones who would go to do the final voting for who become the flag bearer. It's become a hustle in the country.
Okay.
And
so
you have to appeal to them, not just with your mouth, but with something.
Okay.
I'm sure you're aware of this.
So I'm aware of it, but I'm also aware.
You can't force them. You can't.
No.
You can't give them. You can't give them. I have a dream.
Yes,
no.
They've been on people's payrolls. So I have a dream will not work. They've been on payrolls for years. But guess what? I'm also aware that there are quite a number of parties trying to come together right now, and they don't believe in that delegate system.
Okay.
Right. And that's my point. My point is that the rules of the game. Watch it.
In 2023, how's it going to be? Consensus, or are we looking at direct primaries? Maybe?
It could be that. It could be. But they're looking at and exploring, something that is fair for Nigerian people. So things are happening, and that's my point. My point is, let's not just sit down, because it's important to get involved in this whole process of already changing the political landscape. It will change. 2023 is not going to be the same.
Okay. The second one was be futuristic, grow through the ranks. You've already addressed that. So good. Third is build structures, have your own followership. You've already addressed that. So you don't believe in structures.
I believe in structures, but it doesn't have to be the kind of structure that they're talking about.
Do you have a structure?
Oh, yes, I do.
You have people, structures?
We have people across the country, yes.
Okay.
I just told you how many people signed up in just 1 week.
Yeah, I said 1,000.
They're everywhere.
Number 4, look for political godfathers and find, and by structure they do not mean just anyone. They mean people who have political relevance in their different areas.
No.
For instance, someone signs up in Lagos, for instance, and
I will tell you what they mean.
And these are 500. So sorry to use the word political nobodies who don't even know the chief of or know how to win an election. Some will say that is not a structure.
I think let's break.
So you have only volunteers, but you don't have a political structure.
No. Volunteers are there, but we have other layers of people that are, that have been involved in, elections.
Okay.
So, for instance, in our structure, we have people that ran for governorship and they didn't make it.
Okay.
Yeah. We have those that are House of Rep members that people with experience that are in the structure. Okay. So the volunteer is to support that other layer. But the point I'm even trying to make is it's not going to be business as usual. And people should start to prepare for that. There are people that told me, hey, oh boy, you're going into this game. Do you have X amount set aside? And my question is, okay, to do what? And a lot of times when I say to do what, they sit down and they can't even answer. And I'm saying, break that down. Do you know that what the amount you've just given me is more than the GDP of the country?
How much are we talking about?
Let's leave it.
No. It's full transparency. You know, I mean,
there are people let's leave it. It's not. It's the reason I don't believe in it. That's why I'm not even. Okay. I'm not even giving it.
All right. We'll come to. So let's look at that then. And the next one is have lots of money. Have lots of money.
I think money is very critical.
Very critical.
But it's not everything.
But you don't believe your friends when they say you should have X amount of money.
Not that quantum.
Okay.
Yeah. The kind of figures we're talking about are
trillions. What they tell you, trillions?
It's huge. It's
billions.
Huge. Hundreds of billions.
I've forgotten how much Kingsley Moghalu, another so-called outsider, said he spent in the last election. But he ran into, I think, billions. Yeah. So how are you funding your how will you be funding your campaign?
It's going to be a combination of different sources. The people. Crowdfunding.
Okay.
I do have a few sponsors.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Interesting. That leads me to the next one. Look for political godfathers and find favor.
They are not political, but they are interested in a better Nigeria.
So you have godfathers.
I have sponsors.
Godfathers.
Sponsors.
Okay. I mean, what's the difference? They're giving you money.
They're giving me money because they are interested in a better Nigeria. Does not mean they are godfathers. Godfathers in your context are people that are politically wired and politically interested to sort of pretend over your own, new career. So
these sponsors of yours, would you be prepared to, in the name of disclosure or transparency rather, publish their names to let people know this is how much I'm getting from.
Absolutely.
You'd publish your financials?
Sure.
On your website?
Sure.
And name who's giving what?
Sure.
So can you tell us some of who these sponsors are?
They haven't started sponsoring.
Okay. All right. Interesting. But you're saying you don't need godfathers, but some would argue that you actually do. Because in every...
You cannot do without partners. You can't do without supporters. You can't, just like you can't do without family and friends. So,
you seem to be running away from the word godfather. Because you're trying to say it seems, in a different way.
Because of the definition of godfatherism in our context.
But you don't need those people, don't you?
You don't need them.
I'm saying you do need them, don't you?
You need supporters. I need you to support me.
No. If you come to Lagos State, for instance, it's where you grew up. There are people in different parts of the state who have the political weight to be able to move people in a particular direction. They have a mass of followers.
You need them.
And this
doesn't make them your godfather.
Like you talked about delegates, they will not want to hear I have a dream. What they hear is what the leader says. They don't care.
I agree. What makes them a godfather? That's my point.
Because they call the shots.
They call what shot?
Political shots.
Or in what space? So the moment I get one person in maybe 774 local government areas, does it mean that I have 774 godfathers?
No.
That's my point. My point is there's a strategy. We have to do things differently. I think that's my.
So
that's my
you
point.
don't need the regular. You don't need those people. That's what you're saying to win an election. Not you now, but for outsiders who are coming in, you're saying they don't need such persons to win an election.
You don't need people who don't genuinely believe in a better Nigeria.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Election no be war. Election no be war. It's a song we sing. We say it on the radio stations everywhere. But that is a blatant lie. We know that in Nigeria, elections are war. Even in the United States of America, you saw the war at the Capitol.
Yep.
Which you're very familiar with.
Yep.
What's your plan when you get into the campaign? Because you're not there yet. It's still early days. And we're waiting for INEC to do the needful. When you get to that stage, what's your plan to match your political opponents toe for toe? For instance, you want to win election, and you're going for campaigns, and then your opponent sends thugs to fire shots and chase you away. You can't campaign in the village because, of course, you were chased away. So people have not heard from you. How do you intend to overcome that?
How do you intend to overcome when they send thugs to you? You're not going to go in there knowing without necessary backup or security.
Okay, let's say you're
if
not.
you know the context and you know your environment, why would you go?
Let's just say you're not there. There's election day, and there people are cutting away election materials. We can't steal ballot boxes again to go stuff because you can't do that. We have the BVAS, biometric voter accreditation system, and all that now. Electronic transmission is coming on board. But you can scatter an election place.
Sure.
And ensure there is no voting there. Okay. What will an outsider like you do in such a situation?
Ensure that
They're coming with guns, with cutlass,
it's fine.
machetes.
Ensure that the incident is captured. Ensure that it's something that you're armed with in order to be able to contest it later on.
Or like they did in Buguma in River State, the Niger Delta in 2015. They can go around and announce that anybody who comes out to vote for Chukwuka Monye would count yourself, just sign your will before you come out.
It's fine, but just ensure that you capture it. I think the reason why a lot of these things are happen often and happen in many areas is just because there's no accountability. People have not really stepped up. I'm saying a lot will change when Nigerians say we mean business, and I've seen it happen. I've witnessed different elections in different states, especially in the South. When people are ready, even those thugs, they step aside.
You sound like you've been involved in party politics in that major political party of which you remember.
I have.
Okay.
I have.
So you've been part of the system.
I've been very involved in politics.
You've been part of the system.
Been very involved in politics.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And so you're
this
part of them?
this Koffi.
You've been involved in politics. Are you sure you're not part of them? Maybe wolf in sheep's clothing. Sorry to use a term. I don't mean any offense.
No, it's fine. You have to. You cannot come into this game without. You've already talked about why people say you need to go through councillorship and all that. There are other ways to gain experience and gain exposure so that you have a full appreciation, right, of the challenges ahead. I'm not coming into this completely novice. It's not that I'm quite aware because I've exposed myself reasonably well to understand the game, but also well enough to stay outside to be able to participate.
So it's a be rude.
I don't sabi the matter.
All right. A politician once said to me, it's in Nigerian politics, he is not happy at the way things are.
Sure.
But he's in the system.
Sure.
But he's just not happy. But he said, see, after all has been said and done, he said it's better to be feared than to be loved. Better to be feared than to be loved. The people will follow you out of fear than out of love.
I don't agree.
So you look at the harsh politicians, the ones who are ruthless.
I don't agree. Nigeria is 200 million people, and you have different types of Nigerians. There are those that will follow you because they fear you, and those that will follow you because they love you. Things are different, and I think that's the message you keep hearing from me.
If you don't get on the campaign stage when it starts and attack your opponents, call them names, slander them, let me use the word, but just sound fierce and just say some unprintable things. People might not believe that man. Yeah.
There are some people that will not believe, but there are some people that are saying, this guy is playing a different kind of politics. I'm feeling him.
Okay.
And they're huge. They're a huge number. Nigeria is 200 million people. We are very different. The way the guy in Akwa Ibom thinks is different from the way the guy in Lagos thinks, and different from the way the guy in Kano thinks. So anyone coming into this game needs to understand that's the demographics. Needs to understand the different segments of the nation and know what they are solving for. And stay focused. It's like someone who's coming, if I'm talking to the youth now, there are young guys that they don't know ethnicity. Their boyfriends and girlfriends are from different tribes. But yet, If I go to an older person to talk to them, they're telling me about tribe. They're telling me about ethnicity. So it's very different. When I tell a young person, I'm running for president, they're excited. Bros, we go die there. But I tell an older person, the older person says, are you out of your mind? You know, the disconnect is huge. They're thinking completely different. If I listen to my own daughter, the way she thinks is different from the way I think, different from the way my father thinks. So that needs to be taken into consideration. And anyone coming into the game needs to think about it clearly and say, who are your people? Go for your people. And stop listening to everyone else, because they may not understand that you are going for your people.
All right. Let's look at some other issues to do with national life. What to you is you've said poverty is the single most difficult or important place to start from.
Right.
What's your assessment of the agitations in different parts of the country, for secession? Nigeria's never had it this bad in terms of agitations to divide the country, people who want to go their way. You have, of course, very well, the IPOB, issue in the southeast. You have the insurrection with in the southwest, the Yoruba Nation and all that. Nnamdi Kanu is on trial. What do you think should be done, by anyone who becomes the next president of Nigeria to solve the situation? Should there be a referendum for those from the southeast to, you're from Delta State.
Yes, I am.
But they say it's part of Biafra.
Okay.
Yes. So are you in support of this referendum, possibility of referendum by the next administration?
So I'll tell you what I think is fueling a lot of these things, and I'll tell you what I think can be done. In the heart of and the core of the challenge or the problem is that you have different groups in Nigeria that feel unheard, and feel that there are a number of things that are not being addressed. Okay, they feel neglected. Now, when I started, I talked about what we need, and I said it's not just a politician. Politicking is good; it's required, but you need a holistic, transformational leader. A transformational leader will engage these different groups. Will even listen to their grievances. What is the issue? Sometimes, if you have a child, you would even know that sometimes all they want is just to be heard. But they may be crying all day long because you have not paid attention to them. Sometimes it comes down to that. Sometimes they are actually even more compelling, concerns, such as, constitutional. They're pushing for constitutional restructuring of the Constitution, for instance. And there are arguments that can be appreciated. Do I think that these things need to be done? I think that they need to be looked into, honestly. I don't think that they're easy to do, because you do need a midwife that understands what needs to be done and can coordinate that process. Otherwise, everything that we're doing is speaking English.
Okay, so they need to be heard.
They need to be heard.
All right. And what do you think about the calls for restructuring the nation?
I think something needs to be done about it. I think it needs to also be done in a delicate manner. Again, this is change management, because you're dealing with so many stakeholders. I think that what we'll be able to achieve is to do it in piecemeal, where you would tackle certain things, in one phase, and then you do in another phase, because everybody wants different things.
But these are the agitations that these different parts of the country want.
Yes, but the moment you begin to do something about
pay
it,
tax to the center,
everybody will relax a little bit. The real issue right now is that no one is even listening. There's no attempt to even do something about it. So let's even begin to consider, these different things and start working towards a solution. It's key. I agree with it. And I will push it.
All right, Chukwuka Monye, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on Lagos Talks 91.3.
I've had a good time. Koffi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We are Lagos Talks 91.3.
Let's talk.